issued over the weekend to a local bar for violating the governor's executive order. What can you tell us about that?
So our officers assigned to the Tumon Precinct Command received a call of a disturbance, and I think this was on January 31st at the Joy Luck Club in Tumon. Officers noted X amount of individuals within the club, which clearly exceeded the 25 gathering, or 25 individuals for social gathering based on the governor's executive order. And in doing so, the owner was actually summoned to the precinct, or a citation was issued by the officers relative to the violation of the executive order. And in line with that, we've also are in the process of forwarding reports, the incident reports of what had happened or transpired there to Department of Revenue Tax. Because again, the Guam Police Department, we are not a regulatory agency for business licenses or any types of issues that pertain to business licenses, licensing, like those of alcohol sales and what have you. Because as we know, the executive order clearly stipulates that restaurants are the only ones that are allowed to operate, and of course bars and taverns have been deemed closed as of now due to the executive order. So that pretty much happened on the 31st. So we were able to, issue that citation in line of the executive order, violation of the executive order.
So what was it? Was it that they were exceeding the 25 limit of social gathering, or that they were a bar that was open?
So we only took care of that exceeding of the 25 limit. That holds responsibility on the owner of the establishment, and as mentioned, and a supplemental report will be prepared and forwarded to Department of Revenue Tax due to some business issues that our officers were able to observe. So again, we are not a regulatory agency that will enforce any violation for businesses and everything in that sort of manner. So that's the matter that's going to be taken upon and reviewed by Department of Revenue Tax, whether there was a violation of ABC board, there was a violation of food and beverage. So they have to take a look into that, and again, it's part of the supplemental report.
Sarge, there was something I've been seeing on the way into work over at a Rev Tax. I don't know what's going on there, but coming to work, it's still dark, and we're seeing like a line of cars starting at Rev Tax and going kind of all the way around the corner of Vinny's on the road. A lot of these cars are on the road. Yes. You guys planning on addressing these issues?
So right now we are just doing our traffic assessment and everything. They did start operation within the week. They opened up to the community, and I believe with because of the licensing side, or the driver license bureau had offered a golden hour for, I believe, veterans and seniors a certain time. But they do open to the public, the general public, around 0900 or 9 o'clock in the morning. So there's a slew of people that have been, waiting patiently to renew or obtain a Guam driver's license during the pandemic. So, they had individuals that have to make reservations. I'm due for, renewal, and I think my appointment is going to be in 2022. So, these are incidents in which, with the opening and the easing of restriction into PCOR 2, government agencies are somewhat opening, and we're starting to see the flow of traffic. We are, like I mentioned, our officers, particularly our highway patrol officers, are there. They're going to be monitoring. It's pretty much for now a first come first served basis to get into Revenue Tax and be able to process. And we're seeing the majority of that is really for obtaining or renewing driver's licenses. So we have to advise the community that although you're going to be camping out and waiting for DRT to open up the parking lots and open up the establishment, you still have to adhere to the private homes or the businesses that you may impede their flow of operation or the ability to move. So we're simply kindly asking the motorists or the individuals that are going to be patronizing Department of Revenue Tax to please have some consideration for the private roadways, private driveways, and of course the business establishments that that are within the area of DRT. I'm going to reach out to Major Manny Chung, the acting police commander, and of course the commanders assigned to Highway Patrol to see if we're going to come up with some sort of traffic mitigation where, like we did the last time, where southbound traffic was the only means in. That way we can control the flow and provide a steady, consistency of safety for the commuters who are moving to and from or commuting from Dededo up to Hagåtña, or vice versa from Hagåtña down to Dededo. So we are assessing, but we're asking the members of the community that are going to be visiting to DRT to understand there's going to be a delay. There's going to be some heavy traffic in the area if you have to motor through and from. Please adhere to our officers that may be directing traffic, and also adhere to the, have some consideration for the businesses and the private roadways.
Sarge, I know you also wanted to touch on this internet shopping safety zone thing.
Yeah, absolutely. We launched it I think it was last week, and I think the community, again, we're providing the outlet. I know we've lifted the restriction to some restriction where we moved into PCOR 2, and we are still seeing some commerce being done in the through the internet. And again, we want to avail the precincts that do have the parking stalls that can be utilized. Again, the hours are from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Again, prohibited items, please, no contraband. Don't try to be brave and do some transaction that deals with contraband. Firearms, if you don't have a FLA license that renders you, that allows you to sell and of course exchange of firearms, then firearms exchange needs to be done at the Guam Police Department Armory Division. Anything prohibited by law, we kindly recommend that you don't conduct the business there. The precinct officers will not be there to observe the transaction, so it's really, we're just giving a peace of mind that you're in a safe area. We're not going to avail the precinct to test any items, but you do have that peace of mind knowing that should anything go south during your transaction, you do have the officers within the precinct to readily assist you in the event something should happen. But we ask the community to utilize it. We've been hearing some great comments from the community. I've seen personally some individuals actually parked in the stalls and asking them if everything's okay, and they really appreciate the opportunity to have a safe shopping zone out, outside from the regular retail outlets that they can go visit. But we've seen parking lots used as transaction area. We ask the community utilize the areas. We have one in Dededo precinct, we have one here in the central precinct, and soon to erect up to the southern precinct area. So we're pretty much going to saturate the entire or the availability to the island based on the precinct's location.
Paul, I wanted to follow up on Chris's question at the very beginning when he asked you about the Joy Luck Club and the citation that was issued. Has the Guam Police Department issued any other citations? How many citations has GPD issued for businesses or people in the community that have violated the governor's executive orders?
Okay, so when the executive order was issued, and of course
Thanksgiving,
granting us the citation authority with, of course, the Department of Public Health and Social Service, I believe one was issued to a business establishment for violating, again, the max capacity of the establishment. I don't know the business. Aside from that, the Joy Luck Club was the latest incident. Other than that, our officers, we've reported that during that time we were falling into the holiday season. We had Thanksgiving, we had Christmas and New Year's, and based on the reports coming out from the precinct, it was pretty much a lot of the community members were in compliant with the executive order. And it really is, again, the numbers, the CAR scores are showing that we're doing something right within the community, and it's a reflection on the community in itself adhering to the executive order. But I do know a business was issued a citation during the PCOR 1 when the island was in PCOR 1. But again,
We were
going back
P-
to the
Oh
holidays.
yeah, Pecor 1. Sorry, I'm always used to it being Pecor Fun because it sure as hell didn't seem like Pecor 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's about all we know of 2 business establishments, to include the Joy Luck Club.
So total 2, right? Since no Thanksgiving.
Yes, yes. When we started, when we had the authorization, both the Guam Police Department
Yeah.
and Department of Public Health, for issuing citations for violation of the executive order.
Anything new with Michael Castro? It's been a long
You
time.
know,
He's been missing.
It's we've put our investigators back from their previous case management, and we still maintain the integrity of the case, and we're still moving forward with the missing persons investigation. We've had I believe 4 death investigations pretty much in December 8th, in Athame and Tumon, and then we had the homicide down in the southern side of Santa Rita, and of course the shooting incident. So it really pulled the resources from our detectives to focus on these investigations. Now that we've finalized and actually moved forward with the forwarding of the reports to the AG's office with the respective cases that our detectives were dealing with, a lot of the resources that were utilized or pulled from our detectives are now back. So we continue this investigation. This is still ongoing. Again, we ask the community if anybody has any information of any other case, and I know one of the cases that is frequently asked is the Uggan case in Mingilao, the shooting incident. These are active investigations that are still a part of GPD's caseload within our detective side. So if anybody has any information that can aid us, submit a tip online at the GuamCrimeStoppersWeb.com, or call our investigators directly at 472-8911. Any information helps with these cases. So we do have our resources back to focus on these cases. So it's still ongoing at this time.
I think there was a public hearing yesterday on Senator Talina Nelson's bill regarding opioids. Did GPD submit any testimony on that?
Not
bill?
that I know of, ma'am. I can do some research to find out if any written testimony were provided that was provided to the public hearing. And I want to applaud Senator Nelson for taking the initiative. I know this was a serious topic that we talked about. I still get reamed for the title. Sergeant Tapao gets grilled by Sabrina.
That's Jason.
But it's good. It's good. It's good material for the community, and I thank you for that. I really do, for pressing the issue, and I continue to ask that you continue to press the issue when it comes to our battle with this other pandemic, which is addiction. And I'm focusing on addiction because it is where we are now with the community in the island, and we've said on record, Chief Ignacio had mentioned on record that through some of the cases we were able to unveil some concerns with crystal methamphetamine now within our FSM community. So this speaks volumes. So I really do applaud the leadership coming from Senator Nelson and really taking the step forward. And the senators that you had before us coming on, or myself coming on, that was a major topic, was really dealing with how do we deal as an island, as a community, with that of this pandemic with crystal methamphetamine. So, it's really stirring in the right direction where we want to see it going, with awareness, the conversation, and the conversation needs to be asked, and the conversation needs to continue about how we deal with, addiction. And, our non-government organizations, our nonprofits that really do take the lead, I would like to say the lead efforts in really dealing with addiction prevention, and of course, the interdiction is our end, just to really empower the community about what we're facing. I think this is the approach that we need to do, is really shake that tree, and let's see what falls from the tree, and let's see what we can gain from this. So please continue asking those tough questions, and I do appreciate that, and I want to thank you for that.
So I just stand corrected. There was a public hearing on the Senator Nelson's bill, but it was postponed, and so that bill is kind of a reintroduction of the bill for those who aren't aware of a bill she introduced last year regarding the opioid crisis on Guam, and that also is a personal issue for her, as is what happened at the port and drugs with Senator Tello Taitagui, and who poured her heart out during that show, but got trashed on our comments. So anyway,
it's serious, you know. I mean, I get, you know, I read the comments when I go on to NA, you know, I take it with a grain of salt.
Yep.
And I thank people for those comments, because, you know, everybody's entitled to their opinion, and those opinions do matter in bettering ourselves. And, you know, I tell everybody that puts their face out in the community, that's fighting for, you know, that's really thriving to make a difference. And, you know, hey, you know, part of the solution, really, it's really you taking the initiative and inserting yourself into where you can bring change, or you can bring, you know, spark awareness. And whether you comment or not the way I want to see it, hey, at least I sparked an awareness level in you, and I may have rattled your tree. So you know what, if you continue to, I appreciate that. I really do. You know, I mean, this betters from an individual's perspective. I personally, I applaud any comment that comes my way, and it really does better me as a person to, you know, I mean, I do have flaws, and, you know, we're not perfect, but, you know, the efforts that we're trying to do, you know, it may not be perfect in some people's eyes, but hey, it's an effort that's trying to better the whole approach of the community. So, you know, thank you for that. You know, we're going to get our criticisms, we're going to get our licks, but hey, you got to just keep driving on.
Keep on going.
Yep.
That's right.
Amen. Yeah, thanks, Sarge, because, you know, I mean, I think you kind of set the example. I mean, we can ask a tough question today, and you come back on tomorrow. I think that's something that some of our elected leaders need to figure out, because sometimes it seems like they just take even a hard question a little too personally. So we definitely appreciate it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. You know, I really do appreciate it. And, you know, I mean, it got personal for me too, hearing that conversation. So, you know where I come from with some of the names. And I do, you know, if anybody needs to find information about some particular, you know, hey, I'll be more than happy to provide a reference background for, you know, I mean, the guy is, you know, we've talked about him, you know, they talked about Jesse Mendiola, and, you know, he has done so much for the community, and, you know, it is what it is. I'm not going to get involved with that, and we'll leave it at that. I didn't make it, you know, public record that we are, you know, we use him on your show, you know, we prime time, we provided that outlet. He provided an avenue and stuff. So, you know, I'll continue to support that. You know, any positivity that comes from the community, hey, you know what? That's a plus in the books. That's a tool in my bag. That's a tool in the community that can utilize. And, you know, if he's going to provide advocacy for healing and recovery, you know, that's where we need to go, is the right people providing the advocacy level of understanding where they've been. Because, you know, if you haven't walked in the boots, if you haven't experienced what they've experienced and moving forward, then we're never going to know, right? Until we actually explore that realm and explore that avenue. So, you know.
But it's case by case, Sarge. Like, I think a guy like Jesse is, you know, obviously a good example, but he's not the same as, let's say, someone who was in a trusted law enforcement position and abused that trust by becoming one of the bad guys. Totally night and day.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to respond on that because of the fact, you know, but I do want to let the community know that I've spoken about Jesse. I've actually utilized, and I continue to work with the guy, and he has, you know, to see the trials and tribulation that he's been through in life, personally, firsthand, and seeing where he's come. I think this is something in which we need to promote and understand, that through change and through sacrifice and through the ability to understand sobriety is the key. We talk about what's going on, right, with crystal methamphetamine. We need to find a mechanism where we can steer it towards sobriety. And this is where, you know, we are working as the government agency with the Guam Police Department in dealing with prevention to education, and working with West Care and Thrive, the Thrive Coalition, working with our nonprofit organization. But, you know, again, it takes an individual effort from within the community to be a voice where people can say, you know what, I know him, I can relate with him, I've been there, we've been there. So, you know, I mean, that, you know, if anybody has any, hey, you know, take your licks. I'm open for that. But, you know, if you have any solutions, any recommendations, by all means, you know, I welcome it.
All right, Paul.
Thank you,
Thank
Sarge.
you.
I say you guys stay
Okay,
safe.
you
Thank you
too.
for
Right on.
everything that you guys do, and keep on keeping on.
Yes,
Hopefully, we don't have to talk to you anytime soon.
Yeah.
unless you got good news.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Tired of getting grilled. So.
Yeah, yeah. Sabrina's always got her tongs, so anytime there's a grilling that has to happen, she's ready.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Take care,
Sarge.
guys.
Yeah. It's two sides of the conversation, you know what I mean? Yeah, we know Jesse. I mean, this is
Yeah.
a good guy, but I mean, there's also, to be fair, Senator Chris Duenas in the oversight hearing said, hey, man, yeah, good on you, but there's a lot of people who don't even get a first chance. And he's right. But, you know, no, I don't think anyone is saying that if you screw up with drugs and you have like 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever federal convictions, that we're going to throw you away and shut the door on you. The question is, do we allow people with that kind of history or drug smuggling into the prison type of history, do we allow them at a port of entry, or do we allow them to serve as public employees in the government? That's the issue. It's not like we're locking people or throwing away the key. No, that's not it. But the water's been so muddied by this that now we're in this whole other conversation about, oh, the second chances, have a heart. That's not what it's about. 9:57. Well, just a really quick break. We'll come back and close out the show with Terry from Tango. Good news, they're opening, and we're going to give you guys some movie passes, okay? We're going to give away some movie passes. Yes, we are, during this next